Ever get that feeling? The more you learn about something, the more you realize you don't know.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you're always peeling back another layer of the onion.
Yeah, exactly. It's like finding a hidden room in a house you've lived in for years. You think you know the place inside and out, and then bam, something totally unexpected. That's what we're diving into today, these hidden rooms of knowledge, or as our source calls them, anomalies.
Anomalous, I like that.
Right. And get this, the whole idea came from an AI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came up in a conversation about AI and creativity, of all things. But it's fascinating. The AI pointed out how these anomalies, these things that kind of break the pattern, can actually spark incredible new ideas.
Interesting. So how does it connect anomalies with creativity?
Well, the source uses the example of stand-up comedy. Think about it. The best comedians, they point out the absurdities of everyday life, right?
Hmm.
The stuff we just accept without really thinking about it.
Right.
They highlight those little gaps between what we expect and how things actually are, and bam, it's funny because it makes you see it in a new light.
It's true. It's like they're revealing those blind spots in our thinking. And that's where the humor comes from.
Exactly. And the source argues that the same thing applies to any field of knowledge. Those gaps, those things that don't quite fit, they aren't just fodder for jokes. They often point to areas where our current understanding is incomplete. Like, imagine you're an early astronomer looking up at the night sky, right? For centuries, people just assumed the stars were fixed, unchanging.
Right. Set in stone, literally.
Exactly. Until someone notices a few points of light that seem to move differently.
An anomaly.
A planet.
Huh.
Right. But at the time, it could have been dismissed as, I don't know, a trick of the light or something. But instead, it sparked this whole revolution, right?
Yeah.
The realization that planets exist,
Mhm.
that we're not the center of the universe. And that completely changed our whole view of the cosmos.
Exactly. It challenges the existing paradigm, and often that's where the biggest breakthroughs happen, at the edges of what we think we know.
It's like that saying, if you're not a little bit uncomfortable, you're not learning.
Huh. That's a good one. I'm going to have to remember that.
Right. And that reminds me of another point the source makes about knowledge growing. What was the word? Fractally.
Fractally. Yeah.
Like a fractal. You know how those patterns, the more you zoom in, the more complex they become? But you also see the same patterns repeating at different scales.
Yeah.
The force describes how every time you zoom in on what you think you understand, a whole new layer of complexity reveals itself. It's like exploring a coastline. You might think you know its shape from a distance,
Mhm.
but the closer you get, the more you discover all these hidden coves and inlets you never knew existed.
That is such a good analogy, and it's so true. Just when you think you've got a handle on something, you discover a whole new level of detail, new questions to be asked. And I think that's what makes learning so exciting, but also a bit daunting. It's like this infinite landscape of knowledge.
Right. It never ends. Which I guess brings us back to the AI. I mean, do you think AI could be the key to finding those, moments for us, those hidden coves of knowledge?
Well, AI is definitely a powerful tool. I mean, there's no denying that. It can sift through mountains of data, connect the dots in ways we might not even think of, and spot patterns we might completely miss.
That's what's so amazing and also kind of freaky about it.
Totally. But, and I think this is important, recognizing those truly intriguing anomalies, the ones that have the potential to really shift our understanding, that often requires a level of intuition, of human curiosity that AI just hasn't been able to replicate yet.
So it's about asking the right questions.
Yes, it's about looking at what the AI spits out and saying, okay, that's interesting, but what about this? It's about bringing that human element, that curiosity, that drive to understand into the equation.
It's like we need both, the AI to show us the map and our own intuition to actually go exploring.
Exactly. It's a partnership.
So to wrap this up, if we want to uncover those truly groundbreaking ideas, we need to be open to those moments of, that's weird. Those things that make us scratch our heads and go, wait a minute.
Yes, those are the breadcrumbs, those little inconsistencies, those things that don't quite fit. Those could be leading us to a whole new world of understanding.
It's like our brains are wired to spot patterns. And when something breaks that pattern, it's like a giant neon sign flashing, pay attention, this is important.
And you know what? That's something you can apply to any area of your life, not just these big scientific discoveries. Think about your own work, your hobbies, the stuff you love to learn about in your free time. Where do you see those knowledge frontiers? What are those anomalies, those unanswered questions that make you curious?
Because those, my friend, are the seeds of truly original ideas.
Absolutely. They're just waiting to be discovered.
Yeah.